Welcome to Havencrest, everyone. I'm Alan St. George, owner, artist, sculptor, mortgage payer, chief bottle washer. We're looking at the back of Havencrest. This is the crest of the hill. Havencrest is located on a 6-story wooded hilltop. And we'll just step inside and see the Memorial Hall. Here's a sculpture that should be familiar to Titanic enthusiasts. One was found in the first-class lounge on the mantelpiece. From the very early days of our marriage, Semper Nos was our motto, and it means always us. To us, it was conveying the idea that love and marriage are eternal and go beyond life. The famous cherub lamps. My late wife loved cherubs, collected them all her life from childhood. So I think she'd be very pleased with this idea of having our crematory urn flanked by cherubs. And they're the biggest cherubs I've ever sculpted. Although not as big as the ones I studied at the Palace of Versailles that were the prototypes for the Titanic cherub. The Titanic and Olympic had cherubs that were a 30% reduction in size. This is a painting I finished this year, just this spring actually, during COVID, called Heaven's Door. Art and love are a major theme, perhaps really the only important theme here at Havencrest. The green malachite, that's my favorite stone. It's a Russian stone from the Ural Mountains, and so it's used in the making of this urn. I made the urn this winter, and it has it's bronze, it's brass, porcelain, malachite, and there's even a little wood. The theme is the oak and gardenia, and then I made this drawing in 1976 and had it transferred to porcelain. It was the first time that we used that Semper Nos. The heart around our heads is gardenias on her side and oak leaves on mine. Adrian's gardenia, and then holding aloft the universal symbol of love, of course, a cherub. He holds an oak leaf in his other hand. Gardenias were Adrian's favorite flower, and oaks are my favorite tree, so that's the significance there. It was Adrian's birthday when I shot this, September 9th, 2020. So I had gardenias floating in water. And that needs no introduction. But lesser known, probably, although Titanic people certainly know the caryatids from the first-class dining saloon. It's over 12 feet high. And the sconces, of course, were not part of the clock wall on the ships, but I used a little artistic license. Here you see the White Star Line logo flanked by half-scale caryatids. And the clock is stopped at 3 o'clock, which was the time of our marriage. I also feel that by 3 o'clock, the victims of the terrible tragedy would have found peace. Here's an archival photo, which shows, of course, no sconces. And then my scale replicas. Now the pineapple is a full-sized piece. That is cast directly from one from the RMS Olympic. I was lucky enough to persuade the management of the White Swan Hotel in Alnwick, UK, to let me do that. There you see the god in the corner, and then I did the 4 goddesses in the middle, and then another god in the other corner, just the same arrangement that you would have found on the ships. Well, you're here. Why don't we just peek into the ballroom? Might as well. It's the biggest room in the house. And the furniture Adrian collected and the upholstery for it, fabrics, textiles. It took me about 10 years to do all the sculptures. There's 25 life-size sculptures. That's love. Love on the right and, love on the left and art on the right. Some of the princess gowns we just started putting out, and there's 9 of them out now. These are dresses that Adrian designed and wore. That blue one she wore one time only, very heavy. That was her silver punch bowl. I thought putting some of the serving sets out would give a little life to the rooms, like we might have had when we were doing our big events in the past years ago. The sculptural groups up on the beam represent the 4 seasons and the 4 elements. One of her favorite silver sets, silver tea sets. She loved giving teas for ladies, and I wasn't so fond of the parties really, but of course I did my duty as a husband. You always have to compromise in marriage. So I would show up in the appropriate outfit, but I preferred to be in my sculpting studio. The Havencrest books, I wrote some. Adrian wrote the one on the right, the Millennial Manners, that we kind of zoomed past. There's even a coloring book. And so on busy tour weekends, I am here in the ballroom signing books and greeting the visitors, which is just a great deal of fun because they just come from everywhere. Many different countries, all over the U.S., little towns, big cities. Here's one of Adrian's English bone china tea sets, but her favorites were the Haviland Limoges. She had quite a collection. Now, these figures you see on the black pillars are male and female alternating, and they're holding the chandeliers to light the room, and the hands are our hands. So some years ago, we made a movie, and I had to cast a hand. I had to cast Adrian's hand for a prop. So I had that for the female one, like you see right there. What a graceful hand that is. That's Adrian's hand. And then years later, I cast my own hand for the male figure, so we would always be welcoming our guests by lighting the room for them. Adrian's clever idea for the ceiling was to put all the times of day in one firmament. So why don't we just step outside and take a little look at the Promenade Arm Row and the Musicians Terrace. It's not raining at the moment, though it's a little wet out. Our landscaper says that gardening is the slowest of the arts, and we've just kind of gotten started here. We see the grass is just coming in. You can still see the straw that he laid down with the grass seed. So there's lots to do yet. I'd like to have junipers here, a colonnade with wisteria. Lots of plans. Now, Adrian pictured this walkway being used by the wedding couple. She wanted to give weddings, and then she thought serenading them on this musician's terrace, we would have a trio or at least a violinist, and there's lots of work to do there still too, but you get the idea. And then the couple the procession, the wedding procession would go down this walkway, which is a diminishing one, so it winds and it has a forced perspective effect. And they would be married way at the end in a temple of love that is yet to be built. So here's kind of the small end of the back of the house. You'll have to come back sometime. see more videos, because there's another room that I'll show you of Titanic interest. Or better yet, please come in person. Come visit us when we have our tours going on. I'd love to meet you, and you'll get to see everything in person. Thanks for coming. See you next time.